How's it going, everyone? And this video is gonna be for those of you that are ballers, for those of you that are high rollers. Bring out the wallets because we are looking at games under $20. So yes, we often don't do videos looking at a little bit games on a little bit more of the expensive side, and yes, this is expensive to us on this channel. We'll cover these games, and there's some great ones in here, but yeah, as always, these are the games that could get a little bit cheaper in the future because they have the room to get cheaper. Batman Arkham Collection, I'm sorry to say, but it probably won't be going any bit lower than like $5.99 or whatever it gets to. These games, they have the potential to get a little bit cheaper, but with that being said, let's get right into it, and let's start things off with 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. I talked about this when we initially covered the sale, but this is one of the best deals in the entire sale, given the quality level of this game. I think this is one of the most underrated games of the last decade. I thought 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim was an awesome game. It was done by Vanillaware, the same guys that brought you Odin's Sphere, Muramasa the Demon's Blade, Dragon's Crown, and I thought 13 Sentinels was their best game, and I still think it's their best game. Unicorn Overlord and 13 Sentinels are probably 1A, 1B for a lot of people as far as their best game, but I would still rank 13 Sentinels above Unicorn Overlord. It's just a tremendous game, and it has a time travel narrative, and those are so hard to land. Like, I always look at Steins Gate as the best time travel narrative, at least that I've experienced, but 13 Sentinels is a damn good one, and how it comes together by the end is just magnificent. It is really well done. I wasn't crazy about the tactic style gameplay, but outside of that, this game is absolutely tremendous, and for 15 bucks, I would say no-brainer, definitely pick it up. I gotta do another playthrough of this soon because I absolutely adored this game, and yeah, $15 is a great price. Like a Dragon Ishin is 75% off for $14.99. Now, this game is available in PlayStation Plus Extra now. However, if you want to buy the game to own it, this is a pretty good shout. This game initially came out on, I want to say it was the PlayStation 3, but never came out stateside. This remake was the first time that the game dropped stateside, set in a different era, but still very much has that RGG style of gameplay, and it's fairly well done. It's definitely at a lower level in comparison to a lot of the other RGG games. Like, if you compare this to a Yakuza 0, a Kiwami, a Infinite Wealth even, although Infinite Wealth, obviously different gameplay style, but you get the idea. Not as good as those games, but still a solid outing nonetheless. I definitely wouldn't play this as your very first RGG games title. I would look at something like a Judgment, Yakuza 0, Yakuza Like a Dragon even. Those are the games I would gravitate towards, but a solid game nonetheless, and 15 bucks, not a bad price point on that. Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition, 60% off for $13.99. I enjoyed Final Fantasy 15 when I remove the initial playthrough that I had with it. The initial playthrough I had with it was going into it with a decade of built-up hype. I was so excited for Final Fantasy 15, you guys wouldn't even understand. I remember some of the trailers, particularly like the TGS 2014 trailer, I think it was. I must have watched that trailer like 200 times leading up to the release of this game. The original versus 13 trailer, so on and so forth. I was just expecting the second coming of video games with this game, and that was on me. That was definitely on me for expecting something out of this world. But at the same time, as a longtime Final Fantasy fan, the thematics of this game and the build-up, it just didn't live up to the expectations I had. Was it still a solid game? Yeah, as an open-world action title, action RPG, it's fairly good. It's just narratively, it is so disjointed, and there's so much potential here. That's probably the worst thing about Final Fantasy 15 is as you play it, you see that there's so much potential in here, it's just not fleshed out, especially from a narrative standpoint. Yeah, if you watch Kingsglaive, if you take in some of the other content, is it a bit better? Sure, but, ultimately I feel like they could have done so much more with it. Still a solid game, a lot of content, visuals are excellent, soundtrack is great, and for $14, definitely a good pickup. Assassin's Creed the Ezio Collection is 70% off for $11.99. It's Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Revelations. You guys know how I feel about the Assassin's Creed games from this era of gaming. Literally, growing up, you guys, Assassin's Creed was that franchise for me that, if all else fails, I know that year, that Assassin's Creed game is going to be something that I really enjoyed, and that persisted with AC2 into Brotherhood, into Revelations, into AC3, into AC4, into Unity, and finally with Syndicate. Unity was kind of a train wreck, so maybe not as much with that one, but for the most part, that was the franchise that I gravitated towards. And as far as the Ezio trilogy goes, most people look at AC2 as one of, if not the best Assassin's Creed game of all time. Brotherhood was really good as well. It was just so easy, which... you know, some people will be fine with that, other people not as much. And Revelations, I just felt like Ezio, at that point, may have overstayed his welcome just a tad, but they had the Altair gimmick in there as well. I feel like Revelations was still a solid game, but 2 and Brotherhood were tremendous, and all 3 games for $11.99 is fantastic, so definitely check that out. Tomb Raider 1 through 3 Remastered starring Lara Croft. You know, this isn't my Lara Croft. My Lara Croft is, you know, Tomb Raider 2013, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but I know for a lot of people, they grew up with these Tomb Raider titles, so they very much have affinity towards these, but it has you play the original 3 Tomb Raider adventures for the first time ever, play the complete experience with all of the expansions and secret levels on modern platforms in this definitive collection. You've got Tomb Raider 1 and Unfinished Business, Tomb Raider 2 and the Golden Mask, and Tomb Raider 3 and the Lost Artifact. All of that, for this price point, I think is pretty good, especially if you do have that attachment towards it from playing them back in the day, but if you want to check them out for the first time, solid pickups there as well. Next up, we got Live Alive, 60% off for $19.99, another super rated JRPG. Really enjoyed my time with Live Alive. It's a pretty interesting game where you go through these different eras and these narratives in these different eras, and they all come together by the end. They have some different gameplay elements to them. It was really well done. Visuals are pretty solid. This was a game that came out, I think, on the Super Famicom, like, way back in the day and never got localized, but then it came out on the Switch, finally got ported to PlayStation, and a solid game for sure. For $19.99, I think this is a pretty good pickup. The initial $50 price tag was a little bit much, but for $19.99, a good pickup there. Bloodborne Complete Edition Bundle, 50% off for $17.49. You know, I'm not crazy about the From Software games, but Bloodborne is the one that, for me, I really enjoyed. Loved the setting. I thought the setting was awesome. The atmosphere, the ambiance, all of those elements are the elements that I really appreciate out of a From Software game, and with Bloodborne, I feel like those elements were at an all-time high. Mechanically and fundamentally from a gameplay standpoint, it was well done. It's just I don't break down the nuances as far as the gameplay elements of these games. Like, I take them in for the atmosphere, and I think From Software is as good as anybody when it comes to establishing that, and I thought they did a tremendous job with Bloodborne. You get the Old Hunters DLC with the Complete Edition as well. Maybe in this lifetime we'll get a remaster, I don't know, but I do know it would be a license to print money, so I would have to assume at some point PlayStation is going to do it. Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 and 2 is 62% off for $15.19. This gets you all of the Mega Man X games, Mega Man X 1 through 8. I guess you're missing X Command Mission, and you don't get Maverick Hunter X, which, Capcom, why don't you just port Mega Man Maverick Hunter X? Like, literally, you could do the laziest port, price it at $19.99, and people would buy it. Us Mega Man fans are down bad as hell. I would buy Maverick Hunter X, and if you're not familiar, Maverick Hunter X is a remake of Mega Man X1 that was released on the PSP. That game is just, like, lost in the ether, which is unfortunate, but, yeah, this collection is great. Mega Man X 1 through 3 certainly shows their age, but those games are classics to a lot of people. X4 onwards, I played all of those games as they were coming out. X4 a little bit later, but X4 was the very first game I got with my PlayStation 1. It was X4 and Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. So you understand, those two franchises I'm going to have a very strong affinity and nostalgic attachment to. But loved X4. X4, a lot of you guys got a kick out of my memory card story. That is true for X4 as well. Think about that. Playing Mega Man X4 without a memory card, that was wild back in the day. These games are not that easy, especially for however old I was, like 6, 7 years old at the time. Maybe even a little bit younger than that. Going through X4 without a memory card was brutal. Y'all don't even know how many times I got to Sigma and then got cooked and then had to restart the entire game. Obviously, Mega Man X ain't no Final Fantasy. Like, in the previous video we were talking about Final Fantasy X, and yeah, that was wild, playing that game without a memory card. Man, my gaming stories from back in the day are so crazy, not having a memory card and playing so many games. I didn't think a lot of you guys would get a kick out of that story, but yeah, X4 was another game that we did that with. X5 did that as well with X5. X6, we did that as well with X6. And then I think for X7, we didn't have a memory card for that. By the time we got to X8, I did have the memory card, so we were cooking at that point. But yeah, you got all the games in this collection and multiple collections, and for $15 and change, I think it's pretty good. Next up, Cult of the Lamb Sinful Edition is $19.99, 50% off on that. The Sinful Edition will get you the Cultist Pack, the Heretic Pack, and then the Sinful Pack as well. All of that for $19.99. Cult of the Lamb casts players in the role of a possessed lamb saved from annihilation by an ominous stranger and must repay their debt by building a loyal following in his name. Start your own cult in a land of false prophets, venturing out into diverse and mysterious regions to build a loyal community of woodland worshippers and spread your word to become the one true cult. A really well received game, $19.99 for Cult of the Lamb Sinful Edition. Next up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is 40% off for $14.99. The game is available in PlayStation Plus Extra, but it is discounted here. Action beat 'em up game with an awesome art style, a bit of a throwback here for sure. And Shredder's Revenge has you play as the Turtles in an action-packed beat 'em up, so check that out at $14, $14.99 I should say, a pretty decent pickup there. Dead Cells Return to Castlevania bundle is 50% off for $15.74. Now this includes Dead Cells as well as the Return to Castlevania DLC. You do not get the other DLC. If you want the other DLC, you want to look at the Medley of Pain bundle, which isn't on sale right now, unfortunately, but still a good bundle. You get Dead Cells with the base game and the Rise of the Giants DLC update, but with this, you'll also get the Return to Castlevania DLC, which is fantastic. I really enjoyed Dead Cells. I had a great time with it, and it's one of those games that I can constantly find myself going back to if I really don't know what I want to sink my teeth into gaming-wise, which these days isn't really a problem. I got enough games to play, but for a while, Dead Cells was one that I was circling back to all the time, and it's a very addictive game, a lot of depth to its gameplay, $15.74. Goodbye there. Next up, Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana, 50% off for $19.99. For a lot of people, this is the Ys game they recommend to start off with, and yeah, I do as well. It was released on the PS Vita and the PlayStation 4, so from a visual standpoint, and Ys was never known from its visuals, but it's not blow away from a visual sense, but gameplay, story is pretty good. I really like the story in Lacrimosa of Dana. There was an air of mystery and some twists and turns I really did enjoy. Soundtrack is great, gameplay is enjoyable. Ys has always been super consistent, and this one's no different at $20 a good buy there. Gravity Rush Remastered, 50% off for $14.99. Another great pickup on a franchise that, man, think about how many Gravity Rush sequels we could have gotten if Sony didn't cook themselves with Concord. Take that budget and make like 3 Gravity Rushes. Obviously, I get why they did Concord and not Gravity Rush 3, but man, it's just depressing to see a unique IP like this just get completely shelved. And yeah, it's a great game, great main character, just so good. And for $15 is a great pickup. Unfortunately, some of you guys might want to get a physical copy of this. The physical copy of Gravity Rush Remastered goes for a premium, I think like $50-$60 online because it was a short print. But nevertheless, you can get it digitally here for $15. Slime Rancher 2, 34% off for $19.79. Here, a little bit of a recent release, came out back in June of 24, so still holding up in price. The sequel to the award-winning smash hit original that was enjoyed by over 15 million fans. Continue the adventures of Beatrix as she journeys to Rainbow Island, a mysterious and brimming with ancient technology, unknown natural resources, and an avalanche of wiggling, jiggling new slimes to discover. Explore a vibrant new world. Continue the slime ranching adventures. Collect slimes never before seen. Build a conservatory on Rainbow Island as well. All of that can be had for $19.74 with Slime Rancher 2. There is a Slime Rancher bundle that'll get you Slime Rancher 1 and 2. That's $26.69. Speaking of recent releases, wanted to give a shout to Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist, 25% off for $18.74. Now, you can check out Ender Lily's Quietus of the Night. That is on sale for $9.99, but this is the recently released follow-up title, and it just came out back in January, so yeah, nice to see it get a little bit of a discount. A dark fantasy 2D side-scrolling action RPG where you venture through the desolate land of fumes trying to save both humans and homunculi. At the forefront of magical and mechanical development, the kingdom compromises of hierarchical societal structure. Here you'll come across abandoned cities, discover laboratories oozing with heinous mysteries, a grand sorcerer's academy, colossal factories, and much more. All of that will be available in Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist, $18.74 on that. And that is going to do it for me. Again, games on a little bit more of the expensive side, but if you're a baller and you got the money to spend, some titles to check out here. And we might end up doing another video of games under $20, given that there is quite a lot of stuff that I didn't even mention. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, didn't mention that. And there's some other stuff on sale as well. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.